After our divorce, my ex-wife married her lover, but a guest said something that made her turn pale. I'm an architect. Specifically, I specialize in disaster reconstruction. Buildings that got leveled by hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, the kind of crap that makes insurance companies cry. I've spent 15 years of my career rebuilding things after they've been completely destroyed. The irony of not seeing my own marriage collapse until it was too late? Yeah, not lost on me. My name's Parker. I'm 38. 3 months ago, I was married to a woman named Presley, yoga studio owner, wellness influencer, 180,000 followers who hung on her every word about mindfulness, authenticity, and living your truth. All of it was BS. We met at a charity gala 4 years ago. She was magnetic in that way some people just are. Beautiful, sure, but also this grounded energy that made you feel like she actually gave a damn. We talked for 3 hours straight. She asked about my work, seemed genuinely fascinated by structural engineering and load-bearing walls. I was hooked. Married within 18 months. Looking back, that should have been red flag number 1. The first 2 years were fine. Good. Even. She built her studio from the ground up, and I respected the hustle. I'd come home from job sites covered in dust, and she'd have some green smoothie waiting, talking about chakras or whatever. I didn't get it, but I didn't need to. She was happy. I was happy. Then year 3 hit, and the cracks started showing. Small things first. Presley started posting about digital detoxes and being present while simultaneously glued to her phone at 2 a.m. Screen brightness turned down, typing with this little smile I'd never seen before. She password protected everything. Phone, laptop, even her iPad. Said it was about maintaining healthy boundaries. When I asked why she needed boundaries from her husband, she hit me with some therapy speak about autonomy and trust. I let it go. Mistake. The late night studio sessions became more frequent. She'd leave at 7 p.m. for a private client and roll in past midnight, smelling like wine and some cologne that definitely wasn't mine. When I asked about it, she'd get defensive, said I was being controlling, that her business required flexibility, that I needed to trust her process. Here's the thing about being an architect. You learn to see patterns, load distribution, structural weaknesses, points of failure. You study something long enough, you know exactly where it's going to break. I started paying attention. Recovered her deleted texts from cloud backup. She didn't know I had access to her Apple ID from when we set up our shared calendar. Found threads with a contact saved as sunrise emoji, just an emoji, no name. Messages deleted daily, but the cloud backup ran on a delay. The fragments I caught were enough. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. He has no idea. This feels so right. I didn't confront her. That's not how you handle structural failure. You don't just start swinging a sledgehammer. You assess. You document. You plan. I contacted a PI firm that specialized in infidelity cases. They had a specific division, loyalty verification operations, they called it. Essentially, they'd hire someone to actively test your partner's fidelity. If she stayed faithful, no harm done. If not, you'd have ironclad proof and leverage. The guy I met with was professional, mid-50s, looked like he'd seen every variation of human crappiness imaginable. We've got a contractor who'd be perfect, he said, sliding a photo across the desk. Name's Brandon Torres, 29, former real estate agent, flamed out during the market crash. Charming, good-looking, broke enough to need the money. He'll accidentally meet her at one of her yoga studio's community events. Natural, organic. If she's loyal, he backs off and you never hear from us again. And if she's not, then you'll have everything you need. Videos, texts, timestamps, locations. Admissible in court if it comes to that. I looked at Brandon's photo. Conventional handsome, strong jaw, easy smile, the kind of guy who probably got by on charm his whole life. Perfect bait. $15,000 for 6 months, the PI said. Half up front. I didn't hesitate. Wrote the check right there. 2 days later, I met Brandon in person. Coffee shop, neutral ground. He was exactly what the photo promised, confident but not cocky, with this practiced empathy that probably worked on every lonely housewife in a 50-mile radius. I want to be clear, I told him. If she's faithful, this ends immediately. But if she's not, then I give you everything, Brandon said. Texts, recordings, the whole playbook. I've done this 17 times. Only 3 stayed faithful. What's your success rate on getting them to break? He smiled. Not smug, just factual. 14 out of 17. We shook hands. His grip was firm, rehearsed. Don't worry, he said, standing to leave. If she's loyal, you'll never hear from me again. If she's not, he paused at the door. I'll give you everything you need. I watched him walk out, coffee untouched in front of me. Part of me still hoped I was wrong. That Presley would shut him down cold. That I'd wasted $7,000 on paranoia. The other part, the part that had studied structural failures for 15 years, already knew how this would end. I just didn't know it would give me the perfect blueprint for revenge. Brandon started attending Presley's yoga studio the following Tuesday. I got the first report 3 days later. A single photo of him in the back row of her Sunset Flow class, looking appropriately confused by downward dog. The pie's note was brief. Initial contact established. Zero suspicion. Week 2, another photo. This time Brandon's in the front row. Presley's adjusting his warrior pose, hands on his shoulders. The image quality was crap, taken from outside through the studio windows, but I could see her smiling. I was in Oklahoma at the time, overseeing foundation work on a hospital rebuild. Spent my days calculating load-bearing requirements and my nights staring at surveillance photos of my wife touching another man. The rational part of my brain kept saying she was just teaching. That's literally her job. The other part, the part that found those deleted texts, knew better. Week 3, the pie called me directly. He's in, he said. She invited him to an advanced practitioners workshop this weekend. Small group, invitation only. He's moving faster than expected. Meaning what? Meaning she's receptive. Most targets take 6 to 8 weeks to show genuine interest. Your wife's at 3. I hung up and threw my phone across the hotel room. It hit the wall, screen cracking in a perfect spiderweb pattern. Didn't matter. I had backups. The workshop report came with video. 22 minutes of Presley and Brandon sitting close on meditation cushions, talking after class while the others filtered out. I watched it twice, looking for something innocent. Some explanation. Found none. Her body language was completely open, leaning in, touching his arm when she laughed, making sustained eye contact. This wasn't a teacher being friendly with a student. This was interest. Real interest. Brandon's report from that day asked about her marriage. She deflected at first, then said we are in different places spiritually. Invited me to a breathwork session next Thursday. Private. Said her husband would be traveling. I was supposed to be traveling. Site visit to Denver, already booked. I canceled it. Told my project manager I had food poisoning. Parked 2 blocks from my own house at 7:45 p.m. and waited. Brandon arrived at 8:03, yoga mat under his arm, playing the part perfectly. Presley answered the door in leggings and a sports bra, hugged him, held it 3 seconds too long. They went inside. Lights dimmed in our home studio, the converted garage I'd renovated for her last year, complete with heated floors and sound system. The pie had planted a camera in there the week before, hidden in a decorative succulent on the shelf. Presley never noticed. I sat in my truck watching the live feed on my tablet. The breathwork started legitimate enough. Guided meditation, controlled breathing, the usual stuff. 40 minutes in, they were lying side by side on yoga mats, eyes closed. Then Presley rolled toward him. I watched my wife of 3 years lean over and kiss a man she'd known for 3 weeks. Watched her initiate it. Watched him hesitate for exactly the right amount of time before kissing her back. The feed cut there. Brandon knew the boundaries. Nothing physical beyond kissing. The goal was evidence, not entrapment. He left at 11:17 p.m. I drove to a bar and drank scotch until last call. Week 9, the texts started. Brandon forwarded them in real time, per our agreement. My phone would buzz during budget meetings, and I'd see messages from my wife to another man. I can't stop thinking about you. This is crazy, but it feels more real than anything in my life right now. I've never felt this connected to anyone. Not even him. That last one arrived while I was sitting across from Presley at dinner. She was smiling at her phone, typing away. I asked what she was looking at. Just a funny meme, she said, not looking up. The pie called that night with a question I'd been dreading. We have sufficient evidence for divorce proceedings. Audio, video, timestamp documentation. You'd get a favorable settlement, possibly spousal support from her depending on the judge. Do you want to move forward? I had everything I needed. Clean break, minimal damage, move on with my life. But sitting there in my home office, looking at screenshots of her texts, something shifted. This wasn't just about divorce anymore. This was about her thinking she'd won. About her narrative where I was the boring husband who couldn't satisfy her, and she was the brave soul choosing herself. Keep it going, I told him. For how long? Until I say stop. There was a pause. What exactly are you planning? I didn't answer. Didn't know yet. But watching surveillance footage from that night, Presley and Brandon tangled together in a hotel room 4 days after the breathwork session. Her face glowing with something I hadn't seen in years. The blueprint started forming. See, in disaster reconstruction, there's a crucial principle. Sometimes you can't just patch the cracks. Sometimes the damage is so fundamental that the only ethical option is controlled demolition. Complete teardown. Salt the earth. Rebuild from scratch. I texted the pie back. Let her think she's winning. I want to see how far she takes this. His response came 3 minutes later. You're sure? I looked at the frozen frame on my screen. Presley, bare except for her mala beads, laughing at something Brandon said. Positive. Don't stop until I have everything. 6 weeks later, Presley asked for a divorce. She picked a Sunday evening. Made my favorite dinner, pan-seared salmon with asparagus. The recipe she'd perfected early in our marriage. Poured wine. Set candles on the table. I knew what was coming. Brandon had given me a heads up 3 days earlier. She's planning to ask for divorce this week. Told me she needs to be authentic to her journey. I've been coaching her on how to break it to you gently. So I sat there, cutting into salmon I couldn't taste, watching my wife rehearse her lines in real time. "Parker," she started, setting down her fork. "I need to talk to you about something serious." I looked up, made my eyes soft, concerned. "What's wrong?" "I've been doing a lot of inner work lately. A lot of self-reflection." She was using her yoga instructor voice, calm, measured, like she was guiding someone through Shavasana. "And I've realized that I'm not happy. That I haven't been happy for a while." "What do you mean?" I kept my voice steady, confused but not defensive. "We've grown apart. We want different things. You're focused on your career, on building and construction. And I'm on this spiritual path that you don't understand. Don't even try to understand." The accusation hung there. I let it. "I feel like I'm living a lie," she continued. "Like I'm betraying myself by staying in a marriage that doesn't serve my highest good." Highest good. That was new age speak for "I want to sleep with someone else guilt-free." "Is there someone else?" I asked quietly. Her eyes widened. Perfect shock, perfectly performed. "No. God, no. This is about me, Parker. About finding myself. About honoring my truth." I wanted to laugh. Wanted to pull out my phone and show her the 17 hotel visits, the 833 text messages, the video of her telling Brandon she loved him last Tuesday. Instead, I reached across the table for her hand. She let me take it, probably thought it was pathetic. "Can we try counseling?" I said. "I don't want to lose you." She pulled her hand back. "I've already made my decision. I need you to respect my boundaries on this. I need space, boundaries, truth, journey." Her vocabulary had become a weapon, all sharp edges wrapped in spiritual language. "How much space?" I asked. "I think we should separate. Officially. I've already looked at a loft downtown." Already looked. She'd been planning this for weeks, probably while I was documenting her betrayal frame by frame. I let my shoulders slump, looked down at my plate. "If that's what you need. Thank you for understanding," she said, relief flooding her voice. "I know this is hard, but it's the right thing. For both of us." She moved out within 2 weeks. I helped her pack, loaded boxes into her Prius, carried furniture down 3 flights of stairs, played the role of the supportive, heartbroken husband. Brandon's car showed up at her new loft within 48 hours. I got photos, his overnight bag, his toothbrush in her bathroom, him answering her door shirtless at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. The Pi sent updates like clockwork. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore. Dinner dates, weekend trips to Napa, couples yoga classes at her studio. Meanwhile, Presley's Instagram became a documentary of her healing journey. Vague posts about toxic relationships and choosing yourself. Photos of her meditating at sunrise with captions like, "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what no longer serves you." Her followers ate it up. Thousands of comments. "So proud of you. You're glowing. This is what self-love looks like." She never named me directly, but the implication was crystal clear. I was the dead weight she'd finally shed. The anchor keeping her from her authentic self. Mutual friends started reaching out. Tentative texts asking if I was okay. What happened? Did I want to talk? I gave them nothing. We wanted different things. I wish her well. That was it. No details, no defense, no explanation. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Some pitied me. Others suspected I was hiding something. I didn't care. I was playing a longer game. My lawyer filed papers citing irreconcilable differences. No fault divorce. Clean split. Presley signed without hesitation. Barely read the settlement terms. She didn't fight for alimony. Didn't contest the asset division. She was too eager to be free. Too confident that Brandon was her future. The whole thing was finalized in 90 days. Record time. I signed the final papers in my lawyer's office on a Thursday afternoon. Walked out legally single, financially intact, and holding enough evidence to destroy her twice over. But I didn't use it. Not yet. I went back to work. Took on a massive hospital project in New Mexico. Threw myself into foundation assessments and structural calculations. Let everyone think I was coping by staying busy. Brandon kept feeding me intel. Their relationship was getting serious. She'd introduced him to her family. Her mother loved him, called him such an upgrade from that workaholic architect. I filed that away with everything else. Months passed. I dated casually, nothing serious, just enough to prove I was moving on. Met Ingrid at a conference in Denver. Norwegian commercial pilot, brilliant, stunning, zero interest in commitment. Perfect. Then, 6 months after the divorce was finalized, my phone buzzed during a site meeting. "Brandon," she said. "Yes. Wedding's in 6 months. You're invited." Attached was a photo of Presley's left hand, diamond ring catching sunset light. Her caption, "Forever starts now," ring emoji, sparkles emoji. I excused myself from the meeting, walked outside into the New Mexico heat, and smiled for the first time in months. The trap was almost complete. I texted Brandon back, "RSVP yes. +1. Send me the venue details and timeline." His response was immediate. "You're actually coming? Wouldn't miss it. How's she doing with planning?" "Obsessed. Spending her entire savings on it. Wants it perfect. Keeps saying it's the wedding she always dreamed of." I looked at Presley's engagement photo again. Her face was radiant, glowing with the kind of happiness that comes from thinking you've finally won. Good, I typed back. Let's give her the day she deserves. Presley announced the engagement on Instagram Live 2 days later. I watched from my hotel room in Albuquerque, volume low, scotch in hand. She was crying, real tears this time, not the manufactured ones from our divorce conversation. Brandon had his arm around her, looking every bit the devoted fiancé. I never thought I'd find this, she told her 180,000 followers. Real, authentic love. Someone who sees me, all of me, and loves me anyway. The comments flooded in. Heart emojis, congratulations, people crying happy tears through their screens. You deserve this, queen. The universe rewards authenticity. I'm not crying, you're crying. She posted 17 times in the next week. Ring photos from every angle. He proposed at sunrise during our morning meditation stories. A whole carousel about divine timing and soulmates. Not once did she mention that she'd met him while married to someone else. Her followers had no idea Brandon existed before our divorce. She'd scrubbed that timeline clean, rebuilt the narrative. Brave woman leaves unfulfilling marriage, finds true love 6 months later. My phone buzzed with texts from people who'd seen the announcement. Wow, that was fast. You doing okay, man? Kind of disrespectful to move on so quickly, don't you think? I replied to each one the same way. Good for her. Hope she's happy. They didn't know what to do with that. Expected bitterness, anger, something. My calm unsettled them more than rage would have. The invitation arrived 3 months before the wedding. Expensive cardstock, embossed lettering, the kind of stationery that costs $4 per card. Presley Walsh and Brandon Torres request your presence as they unite in marriage. Saturday, June 14th at 4 p.m. Westridge Vineyard. The RSVP card had a handwritten note in Presley's perfect script. We hope you'll join us in celebrating love and new beginnings. Celebrating love. The audacity was almost impressive. I checked the box for 2 guests and mailed it back the same day. Brandon called that night. She lost her crap when she saw your RSVP. Wanted to uninvite you, but I talked her down. Said it showed maturity, that you'd moved on. How'd she take that? Not well. She's convinced you're coming to make a scene. I won't make a scene, I said. And it was true. I wouldn't have to. I ran into Presley at a mutual friend's birthday party 6 weeks before her wedding. First time we'd been in the same room since she moved out. She spotted me across the backyard, said something to Brandon, then walked over. Her chin was up, shoulders back, battle posture disguised as confidence. Parker, Presley, I'm surprised you're coming to the wedding. Why wouldn't I? We ended things amicably. I kept my voice neutral, my face unreadable. She studied me, trying to find the angle. You seem different. Disaster reconstruction taught me that sometimes things need to fall apart completely before you can rebuild. You helped me learn that. She blinked, unsure if I'd just thanked her or insulted her. I didn't clarify. I want you to know, she said, lowering her voice, that Brandon and I didn't start seeing each other until after we separated. I would never, I know, I interrupted. You have boundaries. Her eyes narrowed. Are you mocking me? Not at all. I genuinely hope the wedding is everything you dreamed of. You deserve it. I walked away before she could respond, found Ingrid by the bar. She'd flown in from Oslo for the party, would be back for the wedding. 6'1", sharp cheekbones, the kind of woman who stops conversations when she enters a room. Presley watched us all night. I felt her eyes boring into my back every time Ingrid laughed at something I said. Good. 1 week before the wedding, I met with Brandon and the pie at a coffee shop 40 miles outside the city. Brandon slid a USB drive across the table. Everything. Hotel receipts, text transcripts, the works, plus the ceremony timeline. Vows are at 4:15. Toast window is 5:30 to 6 o'clock. And Damon? Confirmed, the pie said. Damon Cross, professional actor, specializes in improvised performances. He's done work for us before, corporate espionage, Infidelity reveals, couple of insurance fraud cases. He's perfect for this. He understands the script. He wrote half of it. I sent him all the background material. He'll be staying in character as Brandon's old college buddy up until the moment of the toast. Brandon leaned back. Presley's already stressed about the best man speech. Keeps asking me what Damon's planning to say. I told her it's a surprise. She have any suspicions about you? None. She thinks I'm obsessed with her. Keeps telling her friends how lucky she is that I'm not like other guys. He said it without irony, which somehow made it worse. I pulled out my phone, showed them both a photo. This is what she posted yesterday. It was her wedding dress. Vintage lace, off-shoulder, ethereal. Caption, marrying my best friend and the love of my life. Some things are worth the wait. Worth the wait. Like she'd patiently earned this instead of blowing up a marriage for it. Brandon whistled low. She's going to be destroyed. Yes, I said simply. The pie looked at me carefully. Last chance to back out. Once Damon starts talking, there's no stopping it. I thought about Presley's Instagram posts, her interviews where she talked about choosing authentic love, her mother calling me a workaholic who couldn't satisfy her daughter. I thought about her lying to my face about Brandon, about boundaries and truth. While she was sleeping with him in hotel rooms I was paying for with our joint credit card. I'm not backing out. Brandon pocketed the USB drive. Then I'll see you at the rehearsal dinner. Try to look heartbroken when you see us together. I'll do my best. 5 days before the wedding, Presley posted a photo of her bridesmaids in matching silk robes, champagne glasses raised. The caption made my jaw clench. Surrounded by women who supported me through the hardest decision of my life. Leaving my marriage was terrifying, but these ladies reminded me that I deserved real love. Here's to new chapters and the family we choose. 2 hearts emoji. The hardest decision of her life. Not the affair. Not the lying. Leaving me. I screenshotted it. Sent it to Brandon. His response. She talks about you like you were abusive. Tells everyone she escaped. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I called the pie. Make sure Damon has everything. Every text. Every lie. Every hotel. I want her to hear it all. Consider it done. I hung up and opened my calendar. 4 days until the rehearsal dinner. 5 until the wedding. Presley had spent 6 months building her perfect narrative. Her perfect day. Her perfect new life. I'd spent 6 months building the perfect demolition. The rehearsal dinner was at an Italian restaurant with exposed brick and string lights. The kind of place that charges $30 for pasta. I arrived exactly on time with Ingrid on my arm. Presley saw us walk in. Her champagne glass stopped halfway to her lips. Ingrid wore a black dress that probably cost more than the entire rehearsal dinner. Hair pulled back, minimal jewelry, the kind of effortless elegance that made everyone else look like they were trying too hard. That's her? Ingrid murmured. That's her. She looks nervous. Good. We found our seats, table 4, thankfully far from the head table. Brandon caught my eye across the room and gave a subtle nod. He was playing his part perfectly. Attentive fiancé, hand on Presley's lower back, whispering something that made her smile. But her eyes kept drifting to our table. The toast started during the main course. Presley's maid of honor went first, something about soulmates and divine timing. Her brother rambled about how happy he was to see her finally treated right. That one landed. I felt Ingrid glance at me. I kept my expression neutral, cutting into chicken that tasted like cardboard. Then Brandon's cousin stood up. I've known Brandon since we were kids, and I've never seen him like this. Presley, you brought out something in him I didn't know existed. To the happy couple, everyone raised their glasses. I raised mine too. Stone-faced. After dinner, Presley cornered me by the bar. Brandon was talking to groomsmen, far enough away that he couldn't intervene. Why are you really here, Parker? I looked at her like I didn't understand the question. To support you. Isn't that what mature adults do? We're not friends. We're barely civil. I'm civil. You're the one who seems uncomfortable. Her jaw tightened. You're different. You seem, I don't know, too calm. Disaster reconstruction taught me. Stop saying that, she snapped. Stop with the cryptic architect metaphors. Just tell me what you want. I want you to be happy. I want tomorrow to be everything you've been planning for. I paused. You deserve this day, Presley. You really do. She studied my face, searching for sarcasm, finding nothing. It unsettled her more than anger would have. Your girlfriend is beautiful, she said finally. Changing tactics. She's a pilot, flies 787s internationally. We met at a conference in Denver. How convenient. Rebound relationship right before my wedding. We've been seeing each other for 4 months. But sure, call it whatever helps you sleep. Ingrid appeared at my elbow. Everything alright? Just catching up, I said smoothly. Presley was just telling me how excited she is for tomorrow. Presley's smile was tight. Incredibly excited. It's going to be perfect. I'm sure it will be, Ingrid said. Her tone was pleasant, but her eyes were ice. We left shortly after. In the car, Ingrid turned to me. She's terrified of you. Should she be? I don't know. Should she? I didn't answer. Watch the city lights blur past the window. Whatever you're planning, Ingrid said quietly, I hope she deserves it. She does. I didn't sleep the night before the wedding. Sat on my hotel balcony reviewing everything one last time. The timeline, the backup files, Damon's script. My phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Brandon, she's freaking out. Keeps saying she has a bad feeling. I told her it's just wedding jitters. Is she going to back out? No. She's too invested. Too much money spent. Too many people watching. Her Instagram followers alone would crucify her. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd built her life on public validation. Now it was the cage keeping her locked in. See you at 4, I typed back. Westridge Vineyard was stunning. Rolling hills, afternoon sun painting everything gold, rows of grapevines stretching toward the horizon. Guest parking was already packed. I recognized cars belonging to her yoga students, her family, mutual friends who'd chosen her side in the divorce. Ingrid and I arrived early, found seats in the 3rd row. Close enough to see everything, far enough to seem respectful. People whispered when they saw me. I felt the stares, heard the murmurs. Can you believe he actually came? That takes guts. Or he's completely over her. I sat quietly, hands folded, face unreadable. Ingrid crossed her legs, utterly composed. We looked like we belonged in a magazine spread about beautiful people at destination weddings. At 3:55, the string quartet started playing. Guests settled into their seats. The officiant took his position under the floral arch. Brandon emerged first, walking down the aisle with his mother. He looked good, tailored navy suit, hair perfect, practiced smile. He caught my eye for a fraction of a second. Then came the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, and finally, at 4:08, Presley appeared at the top of the aisle. She looked breathtaking. The vintage lace dress fit perfectly, her hair cascaded in loose waves, makeup flawless. She was crying already, happy tears, I assumed. Our eyes met as she walked past our row. I didn't smile, didn't frown, just watched. She stumbled slightly, recovered, kept walking. The ceremony began. The officiant talked about love and commitment and two souls finding each other. I wondered if he knew he was presiding over a fraud. Vows were exchanged. Presley's voice cracked with emotion as she told Brandon he was her soulmate, her future, her everything. Brandon responded perfectly, loving, sincere, every word calculated to sell the illusion. Before we continue, the officiant said, the best man would like to say a few words. Damon Cross stood up from the front row. Mid-40s, salt and pepper hair, expensive suit. He looked exactly like a successful college buddy who'd flown in for the wedding. He picked up the microphone. The crowd quieted. I've known Brandon for years, Damon began, his voice warm and engaging. And I have to say, I've never seen him happier. He paused, looked directly at Presley. To complete a job this well. The crowd shifted. Confused murmurs rippled through the seats. Presley's smile froze on her face. Brandon's grin widened slightly. Damon continued, his voice still pleasant, conversational. See, what you don't know, what nobody here knows except 3 people, is that Brandon was hired 6 months before Presley's divorce, by her then husband. The murmurs turned to gasps. Presley's bouquet slipped from her hands. His job was simple, Damon said, warming to his subject now. Test her loyalty, see if she'd stay faithful, or if she'd. He gestured at the altar, at Presley in her wedding dress, at the 150 guests watching in frozen horror. Well, you can see how that turned out. Presley's face drained of all color. She looked at Brandon. Tell them he's lying. Tell them. Brandon shrugged. Casual, almost bored. Can't do that, babe. It's true. 15 grand for 6 months of work. Easiest money I ever made. The vineyard erupted. Guests started talking over each other, voices rising in confusion and shock. Presley's mother stood up, clutching her chest. The bridesmaids stared at each other, frozen. You're lying, Presley said, her voice shaking. This is some sick joke. Damon pulled out a tablet from behind the officiant's podium. Should we show them? Or would you prefer to maintain some dignity and just walk away? Show us what? Presley's brother demanded, standing up. Damon tapped the screen. A projector hummed to life, positioned in the back for the reception slideshow, now repurposed. The first image appeared on the white screen beside the altar. Text messages. Presley to Brandon, timestamped from 9 months ago. I can't stop thinking about you. This is wrong but it feels so right. Presley made a sound like a wounded animal. The next image, hotel receipt. Her name, Brandon's name, King Suite, July 23rd, 3 months before she asked for a divorce. Then video, silent footage of her and Brandon in my home studio, the converted garage, kissing, his hands in her hair, her pulling him closer. Stop, Presley whispered. Please stop. Damon didn't stop. More texts. He has no idea. I feel terrible but I've never been this happy. When can I see you again? I think I'm falling in love with you. The final slide was audio. Damon hit play. Presley's voice, crystal clear. I've never felt this connected to anyone. Not even him. Parker is. God, he's just so boring. So predictable. You make me feel alive, Brandon. You make me feel seen. The recording ended. Silence fell over the vineyard like a shroud. Presley turned to me. Her eyes were wild, desperate, mascara already tracking down her cheeks. Parker, you did this. You orchestrated all of this. I stood up. Every eye in the venue turned to me. I gave you a choice, I said. My voice was steady, calm, louder than I expected. 6 months before I ever hired Brandon, you had a choice. Stay faithful or don't. You chose. You manipulated me. I tested you. There's a difference. Brandon was attractive, available, interested. But he didn't force you into hotel rooms. He didn't make you lie to me for months. He didn't write those texts or file for divorce while pretending to be on some spiritual journey. Her mouth opened, closed. No words came out. You told everyone I was the problem, I continued. That I was boring, that I couldn't satisfy you, that leaving me was the bravest thing you'd ever done. You built an entire narrative where you were the victim and I was the villain. Your Instagram, your interviews, your friends, all of it. I gestured at the screen still displaying her texts. This is the truth, not my version, not your version, just what actually happened. I loved you, she said, and her voice broke completely. No, you didn't. You loved the idea of me. The stability, the house, the financial security. But you got bored, and instead of having an honest conversation, you started sleeping with a stranger you met at yoga. Gasps from the crowd. I didn't care anymore. Presley lunged at me. 2 groomsmen caught her, held her back. She was screaming now, incoherent, completely unraveled. Brandon stepped off the altar, pocketed his phone. I saw the notification of a wire transfer hitting his account, and walked past me with a nod. Pleasure doing business. He was gone before anyone thought to stop him. I looked at Presley one last time. She'd collapsed against her maid of honor, sobbing, her perfect dress pulling around her like a burial shroud. I hope you find what you're looking for, I said quietly. I really do. Then I took Ingrid's hand and walked out. Behind us, chaos, shouting, crying, Presley's mother demanding someone call the police, the officiant trying to restore order, bridesmaids frantically Googling if any of this was illegal. None of it mattered. We got in my car and drove to the coast. Didn't talk about Presley, didn't talk about the wedding. Ingrid asked if I wanted wine. I said yes. We sat on a hotel balcony watching the sunset, drinking Pinot Noir, letting the sound of waves drown out everything else. Do you feel better? She finally asked. I thought about it. Really thought about it. I feel nothing, I said. And that's perfect. 6 months later, Presley's yoga studio closed in August. Loss of clients, loss of sponsors, loss of reputation. Her Instagram went dark after she lost 90,000 followers in a week. The internet is forever, and Reddit had already immortalized the wedding footage. She moved to Arizona. I heard she's teaching private classes under a different name. Good for her. I mean that. Brandon got his real estate license reinstated. Last I checked, he's selling condos in Florida. Still lives with his mother. Me? I landed a contract rebuilding an entire neighborhood after wildfires in Northern California. Biggest project of my career. I'm designing structures that'll withstand the next disaster, building things meant to last. Ingrid and I are still seeing each other. Casually. No pressure, no expectations. She's based in Oslo. I travel constantly. It works. Some people think what I did was cruel. Maybe it was. But Presley rewrote history to make herself the hero and me the villain. She wanted her perfect day, her perfect narrative, her perfect Instagram story. I just gave her reality. In disaster reconstruction, you learn a critical lesson. You can't rebuild on a faulty foundation. You have to clear everything away first. Tear it down to the studs. Salt the earth if necessary. Only then can you start fresh. Presley wanted to burn down our marriage and pretend she was justified. I let her. Then I showed everyone exactly what she'd done and walked away clean. No regrets. No guilt. No looking back. Just blueprints for whatever comes next. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.